But joining us now on the Farm Bureau guest line, go to favorites.com to go with the home team. David Shoemaker covers professional wrestling for The Ringer, podcaster, author, columnist. David, thanks so much for joining us here on, we're calling it Wrestlemania weekend. That's the name of it now. It's right up there with Masters weekend, which we had last weekend, Super Bowl weekend. When I say Wrestlemania weekend, what does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, WrestleMania has been the iconic event for pro wrestling fans for now, I guess, 40. This is the 41st one,
yeah.
And it's always been the biggest time. Over the past, decade plus, WrestleMania weekend has been blown out into a full weekend or week-long series of activities, both WWE events and other extraneous, indie wrestling promotions, and everybody's out here trying to do stuff. It's really gotten to the point where you show up on Tuesday or Wednesday and you got a full schedule of pro wrestling stuff, signings, wrestling matches, everything for the entire week. It's incredible.
Let's start right at the top of the card because there's a lot of history with Cena and Cody here. You're talking about Cena maybe becoming the winningest heavyweight champion of all time, the heel turn that we kind of waited over a decade for. What does the next 9 months of 8 months of WWE look like as Cena barrels towards retirement? Look like if he wins this match?
Well, it really changes everything in a certain way. I mean, I think we're all expecting to see Cena run back some of his great rivalries, one more time of Cena versus Randy Orton, Cena versus CM Punk. But there's a big difference if he's the champ, because then every single one of those matches has the added stakes, right? It's not just it's not just a throwback. It's got real urgency. And I think more than anything, having John Cena as champion, defending, every single match you have people screaming and booing at him and hoping that he loses that belt, but hoping that he keeps it so he stays around longer. It really raises the emotional stakes.
And by that same token, where do they go with Cena if Cody wins? I feel like they want to get that 17th title on him. If it's not here, would they do it at SummerSlam or something, or is this the moment for Cena?
Well, I'm torn on it. Forever I thought John Cena, after he turned heel, which is the coolest, greatest thing he could have possibly done, my old school wrestling brain thinks that John Cena would lose at WrestleMania and then finally get that final title win when he finds the good side again. But now I'm second guessing it. I think him winning at WrestleMania might be the way to go. I think it'll stir things up in such a way that it'll keep people watching and really keep people engaged. SummerSlam is a possibility too, but I think we're in Vegas for WrestleMania. We were looking at the odds this morning. John Cena is the betting favorite right now, and I don't think it would be shocking at all if he walked away the champion on Sunday night.
What do we think about the Jey Uso Gunther match? Because I can't help but feel a little bad for these guys. You think you win the Royal Rumble, you're going to the main event of WrestleMania. Instead, they'll be the first match in all likelihood on night one. They've done a great job of building this up. I like where they've gone with Jey and turned him into a little bit more of a stone cold killer. What do you like about this match? And do you feel like maybe the Jey Uso got jobbed just a little bit here?
Yeah, you feel a little bit bad for him. Listen, in kayfabe, which is the way we talk about what we say about pro wrestling, in the storyline, Jey Uso was kind of crazy for picking the match with Gunther instead of the match with Cody Rhodes. Everybody knew Cody Rhodes was going to be headlining night two.
Right.
But given that this was going to be the match, they've done a pretty good job with it. So far, it's been a pretty by-the-numbers. I grew up watching Memphis wrestling, and so, this is a by-the-numbers old-school wrestling match. It's the crazy, popular, good guy, babyface, going up against the institutional bad guy champion. But they've done a good job of elevating it some, just like in those old-school feuds. It took getting Jay's brother bloody in the middle of the ring to really raise the stakes, and I think they did a good job with it. You do feel a little bit bad because this is a world title match. This could be the biggest moment of Jey Uso's career if he wins, and he's not literally main eventing on either night. But they got the opportunity to shine, and I think that the best thing they could do at this point is to be, the sneaky best match of the night. And I think that with you look at Gunther's track record, that's not out of the picture at all.
Well, you look at night one, the main event, should be a fantastic match. You got three guys that can really go. You've got a lot of storylines. Is the swerve that they're kind of teasing a little too obvious? WWE loves to do this where they make us think, oh, yeah, they're going to do this, and then they don't. Are we overthinking it when we say Paul Heyman turns on Roman and Punk and ends up with Rollins, or do you see another way for that?
It's so funny that you asked that, because this is the question that I'm asking all the time.
Yeah.
You never know. I'm sure from their perspective, you never know how hard to tease something before it becomes too obvious. And I would have said 2 weeks ago, oh yeah, you're going to be shocked. Paul Heyman's going to walk out with Seth Rollins, and everyone's going to be blown away. Now it feels like everybody's got that opinion. That's the conventional wisdom. I think, again, Seth Rollins is your betting favorite right now. So maybe that was the point. Maybe it was to make it to tease it too much, and there's another twist in store. Or maybe they're just telling the story in a very deliberate way, and that's going to happen, and it'll still have an emotional impact when it does. I think it's kind of impossible to predict. I think that Seth Rollins, the wrestler, needs this win more than either of the other two guys in the ring. So whether or not he walks out with Paul Heyman at his side, I would put my money on him. But really, when you have 3 stars of this caliber, a legitimate earned main event match that doesn't have a world title belt involved, any of these 3 guys, these are 3 of the 4 biggest male stars in the company. Any of them could win.
Who will the crowd be behind in this match, do you think?
It's really, really hard to predict, because WrestleMania, there's going to be 80,000 people there, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be an enormous crowd. And WrestleMania tends to cast a little bit of a wider net. You would think 80,000 people, there's a lot of people that, the vast majority are probably going to be cheering for the good guys and booing the bad guys. But the price tag on WrestleMania is really high this year. You have to be a diehard committed fan to come out and watch this show, to buy your plane ticket, buy your hotel room. And so I would tend to go for a little bit more of the diehard favorite. But again, in this match, there's no obvious diehard favorite. CM Punk has got that mantle, and he's had it for years and years. But there's a lot of diehard fans who love CM Punk. There's a lot of diehard fans who love Roman Reigns and everything he's built this business into over the past several years. My guess is that CM Punk is going to get the biggest reaction on the way in. The question is who's going to get the biggest reaction by the end of the match.
Outside of the main events, what's the match that you're most looking forward to on this card?
I got to tell you, there's a couple of them. One, the triple threat match for the women's championship that's on night 2 between Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. I think that's a match that we're going to look back on for years in terms of it just sort of defining these 3 people as the top wrestlers in the women's division. The other women's championship match, though, with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, is maybe the most intriguing match on the card, because it seems like these 2 really don't like each other, and you're going to be watching the match just to try to read the tea leaves and see how hard they're really punching and how much they're really showing disrespect in the match.
Yeah.
To me, though, the top match that I'm looking forward to is the 4-way match for the Intercontinental title. Braun Breaker's your champion. You got Penta, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor, because I just don't know. I've been watching wrestling my whole life. Those are 4 guys with very different styles, with all of them supremely talented in different ways. I just don't know what that match is going to look like. So that's the one I'm going to be watching most closely.
We got 90 seconds left. Let's do a little WrestleMania history. What is your favorite WrestleMania match?
Oh, man, that's too much. Listen, WrestleMania 3, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage, obviously one of the best. But also when I was a kid watching WrestleMania 3, I cared about Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant way more. There's a lot of big ones. The one that they're inducting into the Hall of Fame on Friday, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, was just a work of art. I've watched that one over more times than probably any match in WrestleMania history. I got to say, that's probably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Even though it wasn't the top match on the card, that is wrestling artistry at its finest, and it's hard to outdo that one.
That would have been my choice as well, David, so I'm glad we were on the same page. David, I can't thank you enough for your time today, for helping me bring pro wrestling to this radio show. I have been taking barbs from these guys for years about my love of what I call America's greatest art form. I appreciate your time today, David. David Shoemaker from The Ringer, WrestleMania weekend, man. Have a great one. I hope you enjoyed the show.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me.